Good morning. For the record, my name is Erin Murphy, at-large City Councilor, and I am the Chair of the Boston City Council Committee on Strong Women, Families, and Communities. Today is January 30th, 2024. This hearing is being recorded. It is also being live streamed at boston.gov/city-council-TV and broadcast on Xfinity Channel 8, RCN Channel 82, and FiOS 964. Written comments may be sent to the committee email at ccc.swfc@boston.gov and will be made part of the record and available to all councilors. Public testimony will be taken at the end of this hearing. Individuals will be called out in the order in which they signed up and will have 2 minutes to testify. If you're interested in testifying in person, you can add your name to the sign-up sheet near the entrance. And if you're looking to testify virtually, you can email Central Staff Liaison Megan Kavanaugh at Megan, MEGHAN, .Kavanaugh, KAVANAGH, @boston.gov for the link, and your name will be added to the list. Today's hearing is on docket 0109, a message in order authorizing the City of Boston to accept and expend the amount of $5 million in the form of a grant for the Nazaro Community Center renovation grant. This grant was awarded by the United States Department of Treasury, passed through the Mass Executive Office of Economic Development, to be administered by Property Management. The grant will fund repairs and capital improvements to maintain current functionality and programming at the Nazaro Community Center. We will also be addressing docket 0111, a message in order authorizing the City of Boston to accept and expend the amount of $150,000 in the form of a grant for the Age Strong Universal Fund awarded by the donor group to be administered by the Age Strong Commission. The grant will fund senior center programs and services for older adults in Boston. These matters were sponsored by Mayor Michelle Wu and referred to the committee on December 4th, 2024. And docket 0121, a message in order authorizing the City of Boston to accept and expend a donation. This one actually for $12,500. I'll read it just because it's in the docket, but this was a grant for fitness equipment worth $12,599 donated by Fitness Equipment Service, and it was donated to our BCYF Rosendale Center, but because of this small amount, I did pull it from the green sheets yesterday, and it was passed unanimously, so we don't have to address that one. That one's already passed. That grant was referred on January 8th. So I am joined here today by my colleague, Councilor Flynn. And if you have any opening statements, Councilor Flynn, and then we'll go to the panelists.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just want to say thank you to the administration team that is here and for the important work that they are doing throughout the city. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. So I know we'll cover both. We have Age Strong, we have Property Management, but if you want to start and just introduce yourself and talk about the grants. Thank you.
Sure, thank you. Good morning, councilors. For those that don't know me, my name is Eamon Shelton. I'm the Commissioner of Property Management. I'm joined here by my colleagues, Special Assistant Mary Stakos and Capital Projects Manager, Junior Tatis Zapata. We're here to request approval of an order for the City of Boston to accept and expend $5 million for the Nazaro Center in the North End. This project is being delivered through Mayor Michelle Wu's initiative called Boston's Resilient Buildings Program. The initiative focuses on best practices in facility management with focus on reorganizing resources and management of city buildings, evaluating the condition of our facilities, and utilizing new tools and technology to perform facility management, all in an effort to help us better care for our buildings and avoid emergency closures. We actually met with the North End community at a community meeting at the Nazaro Center in early December, and I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Mary Stakos to tell you a little bit more about how we plan to expend these funds.
Thank you, Commissioner Shelton. Thank you, Councilors Murphy and Flynn. I think I speak for both Junior and I when I say that we're very excited about this project. The Nazaro Community Center is a beautiful historic building that has been emblematic of the North End since the beginning of the 20th century, when it started as a bathhouse, and it has been with BCYF since the mid-1980s. It was most recently landmarked in October of 2023, but as is the case with a lot of city buildings, it could use a little love, so we are very excited at the opportunity to be able to use these funds to perform critical repairs so that this center can continue to serve the community for years to come. And I think we want to focus our repairs on the sort of like behind the scenes, maybe less glamorous items, building systems, the building envelope, things of that nature. As Commissioner Selton mentioned, we presented to the community just a little over a month ago, and this is what we're presenting today is pretty similar to what we presented to them. Our first step in this project was getting a design team. We have the architect Odins Ello on board. They were famously part of the major renovation of the Central Library on Boylston Street. They are just as excited as we are to work on this project. They have a lot of experience with working with historical buildings and doing sort of intentional, thoughtful renovations. They have a team of consultants with them that are looking at anything from structural engineering to code compliance to accessibility. They started their work with a very in-depth 3D laser scanning of the building. Those are pretty cool for any of you that haven't had experience with them. And so now we have very detailed, amazing drawings of both the inside and outside of the center that are going to be a great resource for planning the work to come. The Odins Ello also did a big evaluation of the existing conditions in the building. So they looked at the building systems, things like HVAC, plumbing, electrical. They looked at drainage. The system has had issues with flooding in the basement, so they were looking at water infiltration. They also looked at the roof and the exterior walls and sort of things with accessibility and code as well, fire protection. And this is all aligned with what Commissioner Shelton mentioned earlier, the city's commitment to sustainability and the Boston Resilient Buildings Plan. As of about, I think, 2 weeks ago, or maybe even last week, we received their initial report, and it was reviewed with, we reviewed it with them and with BCYF. It's extremely comprehensive, includes a lot of recommendations and strategies on what to include in the scope. Something that was like kind of nice that came out of that meeting was that at the end, the architects asked if anybody had any comments, and there was a BCYF regional director there, and he said that listening to the architects, it was reminiscent of hearing about the renovation of Fenway Park. He felt like it was like making the building better, but really, really being authentic to its current state. So once we determine a scope, we will go into the design phase. That will last about 5 months. We will then put the project out to bid. That's usually about a 2-month process. And then we would start construction. And the goal would be to start construction in September of 2025. So that's sort of our rough timeline for now. I'll open up for questions. I guess I just want to finish by saying that we are very aware of the importance of this community center to the residents of the North End. We know that the majority of the users of the community or the community center are seniors and youth, and we know that the center is important not only for the programming it provides, but also for sort of structure, schedule, and providing a welcoming and safe space. We also know that construction is disruptive. We've all been part of construction. It's inevitably disruptive, and so we so far have worked very closely with the center directors and the architects, and we will in the future work with whoever we have on board to do construction to really minimize the impacts that this construction has on the center programming. And so we are going to look to do stuff off hours or have short closures rather than like close the center for an extended period of time. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Councilor Flynn, do you have any questions?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I know the Nazaro Center very well. I don't necessarily represent the North End, but I represent the areas in and around the North End, the Wharf District in downtown Boston, so I know a lot of the seniors and young families also use the facility. I do want to, so this is a federal grant that Boston received, $5 million. Want to acknowledge the federal delegation as well, Congressman Lynch, Senator Markey, Senator Warren, for advocating for the city of Boston as well. I don't have any questions. I'm here to learn about the proposal. I think you highlighted exactly what it's going to be used for. I don't have any questions. I'm here to support it and show the residents of the North End and throughout the surrounding areas that I'm here to support this, and because I know the great work that they do there, and it's a gem in the city of Boston. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. So I just have a couple questions about when you had that community meeting. Was it the first time the community was aware that the money would be going to like more facility, like roofs, and were they thinking it was going to be used for other things?
I think it had been signaled in earlier discussions, but I think this was the first time that we presented that, like more specifics about how that money would be expended, and they understood. I think some of the condition assessments that we did really highlighted some of those needs, and I think honestly, if some of these things aren't done, then it would put the entire facility in jeopardy. So people seem generally very supportive of that usage.
Oh, that's great. And you said you've already kind of thought through a plan to not really shut it down completely, but also, I'm not sure, Emily, also from Age Strong, because when I go there, it's usually like meeting them for their like Tuesday morning walks. There's a lot of programming out. Will we have swing space or other like plans ahead just in case some of the programming has to be relocated?
It's a good question. I mean, I think one of the benefits of BCYF is that they do have sort of other centers in different communities that people can utilize, although I recognize that if you live right there, it is a little bit challenging. So I think we would rely on some of the other centers if necessary. Until we get a contractor and we finalize the design, we're actually not going to sort of understand exactly what the largest impacts will be. And so I think there will be more to come. Once we understand a little bit about what the work will be and what the impacts are going to be, we're going to attempt to minimize them. But, when that becomes necessary, I think we would look into that.
Okay, thank you. Did the assessments come back to show that it may cost more than $5 million? And is it something that we may as a city want to, because if we're already going to be there doing construction, it'd be cheaper to fix other things while we're there. Will that be a possibility to make sure?
So we've actually done multiple assessments. We did a general facility condition assessment, and that's essentially an inventory of all of the equipment and a list of some of the capital investments that are going to be needed. That total was about $5 million in like direct costs. So to answer your question, there is much more than $5 million that could be expended on that facility. But we're working with what we have. We're targeting the most critical items. But I think there will be a need in the future to continue to invest in that building for sure.
Do we know, is the Nazaro Center have any projects that will be coming up in the capital budget? Do you know?
Not likely.
We'll be focusing on this $5 million and what we can do.
Yep.
Okay. That's great. Thank you. Yeah, no other questions? Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh,
Emily?
he was at our meeting.
Great. Thank you, Chair Murphy. Excited to be here today talking about our Universal Fund. So I think we have been working with the auditing department, and we've had these funds in the past, but we are back again before you this year. But the Universal Fund is something that auditing helped us to set up to hold our small donations that we get. So anything that's under $10,000, that's like a kind of one-off type of a donation, we can put into this Universal Fund and not have to come before you for an accept and expend each time. The types of things that go in there are sometimes we have sponsors for our events. So it may be like a healthcare organization that is sponsoring an event, or somebody that's having a table at one of our events to give out some information, like maybe AARP. It could be small donations that are made to our senior centers from groups in the community or even people in the community. So those are the types of things that go into this fund, and happy to answer any questions that you might have.
So if it's different donations of small amounts, did you come up with the $150,000?
Yeah, the $150,000 is based on some previous numbers of what we used to get in for event sponsorship. During the pandemic, we we weren't doing a lot of in-person events. And and since we've come back out of that pandemic, as you know, we've kind of redesigned our team. And so we have a new partnership and sponsorship team, and we're actually redesigning kind of our structure around accepting sponsorships and how we do that. But the $150,000 is a historical number, and I think that as we see how our new partnership and sponsorship structure works over time, each year we'll be back and we'll kind of better define that number for you.
But that's high enough to cover the donations that are coming in?
We believe so.
Okay, yeah.
And I guess if it's not, we'll be back.
Okay, yeah. That's good, yeah, just making sure that you didn't like lowball yourself, or no?
No, I think that's good for now, and as we build out kind of our new structure, we'll increase it as needed. So every year we'll be back to bring this before you again, and at that time we may adjust the number.
Sometimes the donations that come in are to specific sites, like the one with the fitness equipment was for the Rosendale. When it comes in and it's just a donation and you make the decision, is there like a list or a website to see like where those donations are going and being spread out over the city?
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know. We don't necessarily have that. Like when it's for a specific site, for example, if someone were to donate something to the Veronica B. Smith Senior Center, we have a way on our books of holding that. I didn't introduce Miles. I'm sorry, Miles.
Sure.
But Miles Garrity is here, our Senior Director of Admin and Finance.
Oh, so you're the one, you can answer that.
Sure, so I'm Miles Garrity, Senior Director of Finance and Administration. Thanks for having me.
Of course, thank you.
When we accept these funds into the universal account, we are able to assign certain subclasses in order to ensure that, or if those funds are intended to be used, say, at Veronica B. Smith, we can track the accounting so that they're expended for that purpose. And so we can do that for multiple subclasses within the account.
And there are times it's at your discretion. And do you go back and record where it went after if it wasn't given for a specific site?
I wouldn't say that we do that. So like if we were to get a $500 donation for programming, then it would be kind of part of a larger budget that we're using all across the city.
Okay, that makes
But
sense.
we don't necessarily tie that to a specific action.
That's good. Was there anything else about that grant you want to speak on?
I don't think so. I think it's pretty simple.
No, it is. We have public testimony. Victor Brogna, yes, you can come up to that microphone. Sure. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Victor Brogna from the North End. I was at the North End presentation at the Nazaro Center, and this is more question than testimony. A couple of things came up in your statements. One of them, to me, the most important, the architect of the project was the architect of the Johnson Building on Boylston Street of the Boston Public Library, which to me produced a spectacular result. I am so delighted to hear that. But I thought it was William Rawn Associates, R-A-W-N, that did that job. No?
It was William Rawn, yeah. So Odinzello has done several projects for the BPL. I want to say, and they may have had some portion or members of the team had some involvement, but William Rawn was the primary architect.
And what is the name of this architect?
Odinzello.
Spell it, please.
O-U-D-E-N.
O-U-E-E-N?
O-U-D-E-N.
T.
E-N-S.
U-T-E-N-N, okay.
And then L-O is the second word, E-L-L-O.
E-L-L-O, okay. And let's see, the next question was, will the report that has just been issued be available online so we can see it in the North End?
Yeah, we can do that. I mean, there is a project page, and actually, interestingly, the City of Boston is sort of updating or standardizing project pages for all departments, and so there'll be an opportunity to post this there,
Okay.
for sure.
And I guess finally, it is my memory that the legislature, our state representative, Aaron Miklowitz, also somehow managed to get funds to the Nazaro Center. Will that be part of this, they added to the $5 million federal grant that you got?
So,
Or will it be used for something else?
Good question.
yeah, so to clarify, this $5 million originated from the federal government. So they're actually ARPA funds, and they passed through the state, and so they were authorized through the Massachusetts Executive Office of Economic Development. So these $5 million are the same $5 million that Representative Miklowitz advocated for and got for the project. So
Okay, so-
there are only $5 million.
So that's the budget.
It
There you
is.
go.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for
No
your
more
questions. I
questions,
learned
no more
something.
testimony. Thanks, and good luck with it.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in. That's good. So do you have, Council Flynn, do you have any questions about the senior funding, the other grant, or, and we just had some public testimony questions about the architect and the funding. It turns out that this $5 million funding that came from the federal government was what Aaron Miklowitz was able to get through ARPA funding, so it's the same $5 million.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. I also want to thank the Chair of Ways and Means, Aaron Miklowitz, and the working partnership he has with city, state, and federal officials. It's about working together, providing our residents with the best services we possibly can, respecting each other, and partnerships are what get things done in government. It's about working together. I just want to say thank you to the administration team that's here. They've been very professional for many years, and I enjoy working with them. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Do you have any closing remarks?
Just a point of clarification, because you asked the question about Odinzello. So they were the architect of record on the Faneuil branch of the Boston Public Library in Brighton. So they did that renovation, and they're also doing the Fields Corner branch for the Boston Public Library. So both really interesting projects, not under our purview, but if you wanted to read up on Odinzello, I think you could look there. Yep.
Awesome, thank you. Thank you for coming in. We'll put this forward. It will pass, I'm positive, at the next meeting. But that being said, dockets 0109 and 0111, this meeting is adjourned.